Guys, welcome back to New Day Vlogs. Today is going to be a little bit of more of a lengthy video, and it's mostly an update on my mom and all that's gone on this week. And if you do not want to sit down for a long, sad story, I would go ahead and shut this video off now. I don't want to bore you, but I do want to give you guys an update on what's been going on with our family, with my mom, and it's going to be a kind of depressing video, but I thought everybody on here would want to hear it possibly. So I'm going to tell my story of what's happened this week. So if you don't want to watch a long, sad story, please turn it off now. But if you want to hear an update of what's been going on over the past week, and if you are interested, please stay with me on this video and you can hear everything that's been going on and see where we're at right now, okay? I just want to tell you what's been going on for the past 4 days. The days are running together, kind of. I showed you guys on Monday's video about how I was getting the house prepared in preparation for my mother to come in to stay with us. She was going to start chemo on Thursday of this week, and she had a chemo class on Wednesday. Her breathing hasn't been very good for a while, but on, I guess about a week ago, it gradually started getting worse, in which I did call the doctor, and I did tell him about, you know, the situation, about her not being able to breathe, and, you know, again, he just said that it was most likely the tumor that was growing on her lung. Or not on her lung, in the center of the chest, and it's actually leaning on the lung, and the tumor itself is 8 inches big, so keep that in mind. So, you know, I spent all week, I was excited about her coming to stay with us again, and come Wednesday morning, I had to pick her up, and I was going to go originally take her around 1 something to go to her doctor, just to go over the chemo class, you know, just to go over medications for the new chemo regimen they were going to start on Thursday. Okay, on Wednesday morning, before I picked her up, she wasn't breathing good, and she hadn't been breathing good for a couple of days, like I said. So I did call the doctor that morning. I did get in touch with him, and he wanted us to take her to Cancer Center where I live and have maybe some fluids pushed in her veins. They thought maybe she could be dehydrated, but also they were just, you know, wanting to do some scans to make sure there was nothing going on inside of her, you know, like pneumonia or anything like that, which he didn't think it was pneumonia or anything like that, just because of this massive tumor. So I took her in, and we went to the triage clinic, and they were going to do some fluids in the veins, and they were going to try to help her to get her stabilized, you know, to see maybe it was just, you know, a little dehydration or something like that. Well, when they took her oxygen level, it was at 73. You guys, a normal oxygen level should be around 95, and hers was at 73. So they immediately called 911, and they sent her straight to the hospital. We stayed in the ER. Let's see, her appointment that morning for triage was at 11 o'clock, and we were in triage from 11 to maybe 11:30, and then she was in the ER probably from around 11:45 all the way up until 8 o'clock. And then they ran tests, you know, and everything, and couldn't understand what was, other than the mass being in her chest, couldn't understand if there was maybe an underlying cause of why she could not keep her oxygen level up. So she went to ER. They did manage to get her oxygen level with oxygen, you know, putting her oxygen in a BiPAP machine and everything. They managed to get her oxygen level back up, and then they were able to take her off the BiPAP machine and put her on, I'm not really sure what these are called, but just regular oxygen. So they stuck the little regular oxygen in her nose, and she seemed to be doing great. Her vital signs came back to normal. I mean, she was doing much, much better, and when I took her in that morning, she was very disoriented, wasn't making a whole lot of sense. And then by the end of the evening, she was doing so much better. They transported her over, to a room in the hospital. It was a step-down room. And over the course of the night, her conditions came back to where she couldn't breathe on her own again. And that every time her oxygen level dropped, she would start becoming incoherent as far as being confused, not being able to talk, and not being able to form, full sentences that made sense. And so, with all that being said, with a very long story being short, they transported her the next day after she stayed in step down for one night. They transported her into ICU. She's been in ICU now for 3 days. She's been in the hospital for 4 days. We have been at the hospital all week, and they have done another CT scan. They were able to put her on some medication to stabilize her so that she could get the CT scan done. And I'm trying to think of how I want to say this. They determined that it is the tumor that has grown more. This cancer is aggressive, you guys. It is so bad. And basically the pulmonary doctor came in and said that there was pretty much zero chance that he could see of her surviving. Zero. Like nothing. I mean, when you're slapped in the face with that, your heart just feels like it just breaks. I'm sorry, guys. I have to take minutes just to relieve myself of just bursting out in tears. Anyway, what I was saying, the CT scan, as far as an oncologist's perspective, doesn't show pneumonia. The hospital doctor didn't give the opinion, like the pulmonary doctor didn't say that there wasn't pneumonia, but the hospital oncologist doesn't see that there is pneumonia, so that's a good thing. The bad thing about it is, though, that, and I don't know if I've ever told you guys this, my grandmother raised me, and I call her mom. I mean, she raised me from the time I was born until now, and we are like this. My best friend. So seeing someone in pain that you love, your mother, to me, my mother, I cannot imagine my life without her. To have a doctor come in and tell you that you have zero chances of life that he can see, and this is a lung doctor, this is a pulmonary doctor who specializes in the lungs, and for him to come in and tell you there's zero chances, it's heart-wrenching, it's heartbreaking, I've never felt more pain in my entire life. So, I pretty much left the hospital yesterday, just absolutely, it might have been day before yesterday, I think it was yesterday. My days are running together, you guys. Devastated. Like, could not handle the immense amount of pain. As a matter of fact, I had a panic attack about this last night. Just the thought that your mom or your parent or someone that you love that's that close to you is going to die. And I'm sure that all of you have lost someone that you've loved. You know the pain it is. It's awful. It's like awful. So, I went to bed last night. Couldn't sleep. I mean, my dad came to stay with me because he was so upset and I didn't want him to be alone. He came and stayed with us last night. And I couldn't sleep. I haven't slept good in 2 nights because you wake up and you're just upset and your heart hurts because you just can't imagine that person not being there. Not being able to pick up the phone and talk to them. I guess my soul was just crushed, getting that news yesterday, coming home and having to deal with just the pain. I'm going to try not to cry too much because I know that this is kind of a downing video to everybody, but this is where my life is right now, and I wanted to share it with you guys because I have some of the best subscribers I mean, I could have asked for. You guys are amazing, and I thank you for sticking with me throughout, normal times of just my normal videos, but also through these type of videos. And I've had some updates over the past couple of weeks of what's been going on, but this has by far gone downhill so bad and has really just gotten really just awful, over the past 2 days. It's really went to severe past couple of days. But anyway, I just went to bed last night, absolutely devastated, thinking, we have no hope of saving my mom. She's going to die, and she could die at any moment, So I got up, and I did talk. Let me say this really fast. I got up after hearing that news yesterday. I did have one of the oncologists from Mom's cancer team who came in and talked to me. She did tell me, and I waited on her all day, and she finally came, and I was a little bit happy at the end of yesterday. I mean, it wasn't a 100% dreadful day. It was probably 99%, you guys, but it was up there. But so she comes down and she tells me, she said, we can try chemo. She said, but with your mom's immune system being so compromised right now, she said, it's going to be a risk factor. And I asked her, I had talked to the radiation doctor before about possibly radiating the tumor, because that's how it cured it the last go around. The chemo did very minor damage to this lymphoma. That's just awful. But this go round, it's so much bigger that he didn't feel that they could do all radiation on this because of its size and because it's so close to the organs, the heart, the lung, the right lung. So to make a long story short, he did say, at the end of that conversation, when I took my mom in before all this went down, that if there was a last resort, he would try to do some radiation. Okay. So when I talked to the oncologist yesterday, and she was going over the chemo and how there was a possibility that this chemo regimen could work, but that it is pretty strong, and that it was going to be stronger than the last chemo, which was already strong. But that she did feel it might work if she could get through it, which with her compromised immune system right now, not being able to breathe on her own, that's a huge risk factor. So I asked her, I said, can't you talk to the radiation doctor and just see, if there's any possibility that he feels that we could do some radiation before the chemo. So she said she'd call him. Guys, she actually called him right before he went on vacation. I think that was just meant to be. He agreed that Mama could have one treatment. Actually, he said 3 treatments, but it ended up being 1 treatment with 3 shots. Like, I guess it's a really strong dose. Like it would be considered normally 3 treatments, but they combined it into 1. He said that he would do that, and that if the weekends showed that this tumor was shrunk by, enough to get this tumor off of her lung, that maybe they would have a chance at maybe a little more radiation and then maybe the chemo. So she went today. We transported her by ambulance to the cancer center. She had her radiation treatments. She did very well, but now it's a test of time. It's in God's hands as to whether or not her little body will adapt to this, and this radiation will just go and shrink this massive tumor down. If it does, we may have a chance, you guys. But we have been told by every single doctor up there that it is not looking good. I mean, this is not what we were expecting to hear over the past, week. Not even a week ago. We were expecting her to start treatments, and, but this just all of a sudden came on us. This oxygen was, it was hard for her to breathe, but we were told it was just from the tumor, but it just went from, partially not okay, to where she was still okay, just to critical, like within overnight. And so you guys, just after hearing all of this, I just kind of feel like maybe there's a chance, that there's a slight chance, there's a little light at the end of the tunnel, that maybe this radiation will work. If you guys are religious, I ask you to please pray. Please pray for this radiation, this one shot that she had today. Please pray, you guys, that it works, that it will shrink this, and that it will give us lots of shrinkage. I know it's a lot to ask, but hopefully it can shrink it quite a bit to where she can start on chemo safely without it harming her too bad. Or maybe even a little bit more radiation. But they need to shrink this a lot, because I just want to make sure. The chemo didn't work last time, and that's what we're scared of, because it did not work last time and it was a strong regimen. But this go round, it is, I think it's a stronger dose, which makes you feel better as far as, it curing it, but not knowing for sure just kills you. I mean, I really wish that we could have just gone 100% with the radiation, because I know for a fact it worked last time. That is my story. That is where we've been for the past 4 days. We've been at the hospital day in, day out. I literally just got home about an hour ago. I probably look a mess because we're so tired, we're so exhausted, and half the time when we're not stressed out and dealing with all this stuff, the other part of the time I'm crying and just upset. And I know that sounds so silly to some people, because I guess some people aren't as emotional, but I'm an emotional person, and especially when it comes to stuff like this. But yeah, I'm just a mess today. I'm just a mess in general, and I just ask for your prayers if you are religious. If you're not, I can understand, but please send prayers for my mom if you don't mind, and pray that this radiation shrinks this big massive tumor quite a bit over the weekend, and that we have hope on Monday, because we'll talk to the doctors again on Monday. And as for me, I'll be heading back up to the hospital in the morning. I am not going to be able to film a video, you guys, on Monday. I can tell you now, it's just chaotic. I'm going to be at the hospital all day, and I'm not going to have time to do a Motivational Monday video right now. I hope you guys understand. I don't want to lose you as subscribers, because I try always every week to make you guys 2 videos so you can catch up with us and just see what's going on in our day-to-day life. But this situation has it's horrible, and I hope that you guys understand, and just know that I love you guys, and I appreciate you being there and you watching my channel, and it means the world to me. So, but I tell you, I will be making a video next week, and it definitely won't be on Monday, because we're supposed to find out about the radiation, and there's going to be a lot of stuff going on Monday, and it's going to probably be a very emotional day, whether it be happy or whether it be sad, which I hope that's not the case. But I will make a video next week. I just can't tell you what day it's going to be on, because as of right now, we don't know day by day, what's going to happen and how long my mom's got at this point. So I'm not going to talk about it. It's going to make me cry again. But anyway, I've told you guys everything, and just keep us in your prayers, because we need it. And I'm going to let you go, because this video is just going to get longer and longer. So love you guys. I hope that you have a good weekend, and I will see you next week at some point for the next video. Okay? Y'all take care, and I'll see you later. Bye.